It's at Comic-Con at Home with Pixel Dan. I, of course, am your host, Pixel Dan, and today I am joined by a good friend of mine who, this has sort of become a little bit of a tradition for us every toy fair for the past couple years, and now we're going to do it for San Diego Comic-Con. Please welcome to the show from the Toy Galaxy YouTube channel, my friend Dan Larson. How's it going, Dan?
It is as good as it can be, and it's if nothing else, it's nice to talk to you, just to sort of break up the monotony of just sitting here refreshing. You know, announcements come out. At least we can actually sit here and chat, and at least that part of it will feel normal.
Exactly. Yeah, that's sort of been my goal with all of these interviews. I want to make it feel a little normal and try to bring a little bit of fun into this whole thing because, man, has Comic-Con at Home been kind of a disaster or what?
you know, and it's like there's no one entity you can blame, right? And be like, if only they'd done this, if only they'd done that. It's like everybody just got thrown into the same mess. Everybody got thrown into the same uncertainty and who knows, and canceling plans and rearrangements and schedules, all that stuff. So I think everybody's trying to make the best of everything that they can, and results vary.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, like you said, we were all kind of thrust into this. And so everybody had to figure out the best way to still do something. Obviously, all these companies had big plans for this show because this is something that they would have started working on probably last year, like building up to this, at least. Yeah. So, yeah. So obviously they still had to find a way to do what they were going to do or do something to try to get something out there because they want that spotlight and they want to be able to have new product reveals or sales or whatever they're doing. And it's been weird because obviously with the internet, they've all got their own social media channels, which means pretty much the path they all took was, well, we'll do our own Comic-Con. So they all kind of did their own like at-home versions of Comic-Con where they did videos or sales or their own kind of panels. And like you said, results have varied. It's for me, it's been very hard to keep track of it all. And I say that as somebody who's usually in the convention center, and even in the convention center, it's hard to keep track of everything, but at least everything was under one roof and I could like go to these different places.
Well, and you had some expectation of the sort of windows of time that these things were going to be announced, right? Like I knew that if I followed you or anybody else that I knew was in the building, I knew the Hasbro panels at 2, McFarlane's got his thing at whatever, and nothing was going to happen outside of those hours, right? You knew there was the preview event and this and the other thing. Now it's just like, it does it any time of day, like some new announcement is coming out. And I'm like, is this a thing we knew about? Is this is this an actual San Diego announcement? Is this new packaging shots? I've just completely lost track.
Yeah, same here. And, you know, for somebody like me, who's like whole deal with this was like being at the show and meeting these companies face to face and kind of giving the fans sort of an inside look at what's going on in their booth. That's made things very complicated for me this year because with everybody doing their own thing, where does that really leave me in this whole thing, you know? So I'm lucky that I was able to still get a couple of interviews just to do something a little extra, and I can do stuff like this with you. But all in all, it's been a very, very weird event for me.
Well, you know, you and I had a conversation back at Toy Fair in February about what San Diego was going to look like. And I've never been to Comic-Con before. So I was like, this is it. This is his year. We're going to go to Comic-Con. I'm going to go hang out with Dan. I'm going to follow him around. I'm going to shoot stuff for him. You know, he's going to show me the whole show. And then here we are just talking about it.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see. Like, I think there was a little bit of curiosity going into this, wondering if this was going to make companies go, maybe we don't need Comic-Con anymore if we can just do it like this. But with the way this is all gone, I kind of feel confident that when Comic-Con comes back, it's probably going to be just like it was before, if not bigger, because people are going to be excited that it's back.
Yeah, no, I agree with that sentiment. I think everybody did the right thing. You know, the San Diego Comic-Con, they did the right thing by canceling the show. Everybody did the right thing by, you know, setting the expectation that this thing was not going to happen in person. You know, could they have done everything a little bit sooner, given all these companies a little bit more time to prepare alternate, you know, options for getting this information out, for coordinating product getting to stores, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a bit here. But I think ultimately everybody made the right decisions, and we all, you know, just have to accept that the decisions were made for the right reasons. And if everybody plays their part, we will be back in person, you know, next year.
Yep, fingers crossed, man. I want to be back at a convention so bad. It's when this whole first started, it was nice just being home. It was nice having a break from the travel. As much as I love going to all these shows, it's tiring and exhausting, and it was kind of cool just having all this time at home. But like this week is the first week that I'm just like, oh my, this sucks. Like I am just ready to get back out there. I want to see people again. I want to, hang out with friends and walk around and buy overpriced toys from vendors. Like I want to do all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah, and especially on this end of it, the straight fan end of it is one thing. The announcements, being able to go to the show in person, walking around, buying stuff, that sort of thing. But from the YouTuber, and, it is there are different things that you start to expect from these shows and different reasons why they are a big deal. It is more of that in-person experience with other people that are doing this kind of stuff and, have been collecting for a long time and have those same experiences. And yeah, as each week went by on the calendar, it's like, well, I would have been at this show, would have been at this show, would have been at this show, and you just hope all those opportunities are going to come back around.
Yeah, man. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. All right. So I feel like we can't really talk about like the way all the online stuff's been going for this convention without talking about the exclusives and kind of the insanity that's been going on with all the exclusives this year. Now, San Diego exclusives are always a bit of a hot button topic, right? Because they're always a little unobtainable or they're hard to get, but it definitely seems like things have gotten more complicated in today's world. With everything kind of being exclusive through Walmart and Target specifically, we've seen a lot of issues with that. And I've kind of talked about it before, but I really do feel like this is like we're starting to really feel the effects of Toys R Us being gone and toy stores in general being gone. And we're down to these two retailers in the US, which is basically all that's left. And they've got six aisles dedicated to toys in their stores. And so in order for like these companies to get their product in the stores, they're making these deals to have these exclusives, and these exclusives are incredibly hard to buy. And Target and Walmart's online services are terrible and their shipping is terrible. And it's just been a nightmare. So I don't know. What do you think, man?
Having worked in retail pretty much all of my professional life, all of my adult life, I know that while these collectibles, while these exclusives, while these high ticket items, high ticket to us, are important, once they're in a store like that, Walmart, Target, whatever, they're just another SKU, for these places. Like Walmart there's way more stuff that Walmart is going to move more quantities of and at higher dollar amounts, higher profit margins than they are going to, an exclusive action figure. So as far as their logistical process of getting that thing to the floor, it's not that important. It really just is not. They need to get that center aisle stocked with that pallet of $200 40-inch HD TVs. That's a bigger thing for them than getting out 4 packages of whatever exclusive set just came in. And we've seen their sort of stocking issues for a long time now, where people are sending me pictures of the new G.I. Joe classified line already being on clearance there. We're not even talking about exclusive stuff. We're just talking about a line of action figures that Hasbro, I think the official launch date was supposed to be July 4th for those. But there is absolutely no reason they should be on clearance right now. But as far as Walmart's schedule of just like putting product out, it didn't get to the floor. Now somebody puts it out to the floor. Now the next, map says those things go on clearance now. So even though they've only been on the shelves for like 2 days, somebody else just moves them right over to clearance. They get marked down to $7. And then the people who pre-ordered them back in March, never saw them on the shelves, never got to buy them at full price, don't even get to buy them at clearance. And that whole wave just misses them. So I get it from that standpoint of the logistical nightmare on Walmart's end or Target's end. But as a fan, it doesn't make it feel any better.
No, it doesn't. It's incredibly frustrating, and I totally get it. And I know I'm saying this as a guy who does reviews and I get samples, so I get that. I know that sometimes that invalidates my opinion on some of this, but I know how frustrating this is. I've seen this stuff, like hitting that refresh button you were talking about earlier for getting the news. It's the same way. Like everybody's logging in, hitting the refresh, watching these things sell out before they have a chance to add them to their carts. Going to the stores is already weird because we're in the middle of a pandemic. So some people don't want to venture out to these stores. And then we run into these same situations that you were just discussing, where they're either not there, or they're put them in clearance already, or they're still sitting in the back because they just don't care enough to put them out for the street date. It's super frustrating. And I don't know what the solution is. I don't know if this is just the way things are now, and we're going to have to find a way to navigate this. I don't know. What do you think?
I really honestly don't know, because I think there were already issues here. Like the issue of only having 2 major retailers, Target and Walmart, that was already an issue before COVID-19. That was an issue before that. So now that you add an additional element to it, it's really like, let's all just take the L on 2020. Like, it's just write it off for everybody. It sucks. We all hated it, but we were all in this just nightmare together, and see if these companies can figure things out going forward. I don't know what the solution is. I know that NECA, I think, was talking about adding some more layers to trying to beat these bots, to try to prevent these bots from being able to buy stuff. I don't even know how any of this stuff works. So I am not even remotely qualified to talk about it. Like, everybody's like, bots.
It's same.
Bots. And I'm like, is it bots? Is that a thing? Where do I get the bots? Because I need Beachhead. So do I got to get a bot to get Beachhead? I don't know how this works,
I know. I feel exactly the same. Like, bots has been such like the go-to answer right now for what's happening. And maybe it is. I don't know. Like, I'm the same with you. I don't know anything about how that would work. I don't know where you would get the bots. I don't know how you set that up. But I know that, like, NECA, like you said, specifically said they were going to add some layers of security to try to prevent the bots, like some captchas and stuff like that, which is, I thought that was standard anyway, but obviously it's not with places like Walmart and Target. I don't know. So it's super weird. I don't know if that's the solution. I don't know if that's what's really happening, but I know that a lot of people say things like they want to see more pre-orders. There should be more options for pre-orders out there. And again, I'm saying this as somebody that, like, I don't know the logistics behind the scenes at a toy company. I know that they all have their own business models. I know that it's not something that they can just snap their fingers and overnight, the way that they do things or the way things are run. And also, we always have to consider that there are licensing agreements in place with a lot of this stuff. So maybe from a legal standpoint, they can't always discuss those specifics, or they can't always make those changes right away. So there's a lot of weird layers like that I think needs to be considered when we're talking about this. But as far as pre-orders go, I look at companies like Super 7. And they're the only company I know right now that's making these kind of like big licensed toys that are doing honest, true pre-orders. And by that, what I mean is those things don't even go into production until after the pre-orders close. They do a 30-day pre-order, and then however many orders they get, that's how many figures they make. And that seems to be working out pretty well for them right now because we don't have sellouts. But on the flip side, I always see a lot of people complaining about how long it takes to get the figures because they have to go into production and go through that whole thing after they've ordered it. So there's always a complaint about how long it takes. There's a complaint about the pricing being higher. That's because these are probably being produced in smaller numbers since they're only making however many are pre-ordered. So it's like there's pluses and minuses to both sides of this coin.
Oh yeah, no, it is not the industry that we grew up in.
Definitely.
And we have different demands, and it's difficult to step back and acknowledge that the industry has changed, the market is smaller, and that as adult collectors we have higher demands and need to accept that that's going to take longer, B, it's going to cost more. But on the flip side of that, yeah, the companies need to recognize who that new customer is as well. Hasbro is not producing. Hasbro wants to be producing 6-inch GI Joes for the younger market, but the reality is just that's not who's buying them. I have,
yes, exactly.
Friends and family with the young kids, and if there are 25 or 30 young kids, in my orbit as far as friends and family are concerned, I know one that is actually buying 6-inch GI Joes. One. That's not a good track record. Where, in the 80s and the 90s and early 2000s, it was most kids had some action figures. Lower price point, easier, a higher volume of stuff being produced. And so they could get those items out there everywhere. It wasn't a matter of Walmart didn't need to have an exclusive. Target didn't need to have an exclusive. You didn't have these little mini pockets of, like you just were referring to, these different contracts and agreements and stuff to make sure, Walmart's going to say, oh, we'll buy this much product, but you got to give us an exclusive. Target, we'll buy this much product, but you got to give us an exclusive. You got to give fans a reason to come to our store specifically. I get that end of it. Now they need to follow through with actually putting it out when we come in to buy.
Yes, definitely. And you're totally right as far as like the Hasbro thing with the GI Joe, because I can say the exact same thing for Mattel, because Mattel's always been very much, we make toys for kids. That's our focus. But Masters of the Universe is being bought by collectors and collectors alone. And I know that with the new line that they're putting out with Origins, that's going to be a retail release, and it's the first retail release for He-Man since 2002. And I think they're hoping to get kids on board, but right now it's just adults. And unless those things are there and hanging on the shelves and easy for anybody to walk in and pick up, there's not going to be any kids buying that. It's going to be the collectors scooping all those up. So there definitely needs to be better focus on who their audience is. And, like they're making all this cool stuff. we want to buy this cool stuff. And it's like I said, I don't have the answers. I wish I did, but
from the retailer end, they need to recognize that, and Target started to do it right with the NECA product, where they have a lot of that NECA and even some of the McFarlane, DC figures and their horror figures and all those sorts of things. Bandai's Gundam Universe line. My Target has all that stuff all together. Those are all over, by the electronics, separated from the traditional kids toy aisle, and I think that's a good first step. I know NECA has some issues there with. I think they're actually stocked. I think that product is actually stocked by a third-party company. And so we've got 3 different entities, and none of them are actually wanting to say that's our fault that the product's not getting out. Yeah. It doesn't, irregardless, I don't care. The point is more that they need to take that next step and recognize that those kinds of collectibles, a 2-pack of, Casey Jones and Raphael from the 1990 Ninja Turtles movie at $50, that is the kind of thing that needs to be put either in a case or, my Walmart, actually, I walked into my Walmart at exactly the right time this morning, just as they were putting 2 of those out.
Wow, nice.
I managed to score a Casey and Raph right off the shelf. Congrats. But they had the security lock on it, right? They had that. It's that black with the black cables. They had those on both of them. So you're not going to slip that into your bag. You're not going to sneak out with that. Those kinds of items should be non-returnable. They should be limited 1 per customer. They should treat those more like they are higher end products. But again, it's just another SKU for Walmart and Target. So I just don't know if they're ever going to take the step to treat it that way.
I know that's again, that whole difference between a toy store and a regular retail store too. Like, Toys R Us only dealt with toys. So it would have been a little different. They had a whole collector aisle, whatever. But like you said, like Walmart is way more worried about selling their TVs than they are about the toys. Milk. And milk. Yeah. They have a whole grocery store in their stores. Yeah.
They're losing a lot more to, theft and shoplifting and stuff in the, clothing aisle, in the, all those other sections. Those are much bigger profit margins for them than the action figure aisle. And that's it's on us. We got to realize that. Now, on the other end of that, I don't know why Hasbro Pulse exists.
Yeah, right? Like, it seems like that they were trying to do something that was direct to retailers or direct to consumers. I mean, sorry, direct to consumers with that. I don't know. Like, I've used it a handful of times. I bought Destro off of Hasbro Pulse just recently. He's the only GI Joe I've bought so far. I don't know. Like, it seems like it works okay, but it seems like they're having the same thing with the sellouts on there, right?
Well, and just the general, I pre-ordered the entire line of GI Joe back in March. I think it was March. Maybe it might have been right after Toy Fair. So it was probably March when they actually put all those pre-orders up. And I waited and waited and waited. I managed to be in that first shipment of the Pulse exclusive Snake Eyes, so I did get mine. But I have friends who are still waiting on theirs. They still haven't received theirs. It got pushed back. It got pushed back. So allowing for all of the international shipping issues that occurred because of COVID-19, and those are real, and there were definitely going to be delays there, and we should all expect that. When I started to see those pre-ordered items showing up on Amazon, Walmart, Target, I'm like, what's going on here? Like,
yeah,
I immediately ordered everything from Amazon, had it within a week, and canceled all my pre-orders from Pulse. Because what's the point?
Oh,
I found Destro in the store. He hadn't been on Amazon. I found Destro in the. I happened to find him at Walmart in the store, and my Destro for Pulse had already paid, so I couldn't cancel that one. So that one ended up shipping. So it's just been a mess. But at the same time, like, again, I know people that pre-ordered in March, still haven't received their stuff, and don't know when they're ever going to get it. I don't know, what's the point?
It's crazy, man. The toy industry is in such a weird place right now because, like, on one hand, they're making all these cool toys that are definitely catered directly to us. And I always look at that and just realize, man, it's weird. It's like 2020, and all these big toy lines coming out right now are G.I. Joe and He-Man and Ninja Turtles and Transformers. Like, those are all a direct result of us. You know, because that's what we grew up with, and they're still making that stuff for us. So on one hand, they're making all these really cool toys. On the other hand, it has become increasingly difficult to collect them. And it's just weird, man. The toy industry is in a real weird place.
That's really the shortest version of it. Yeah. It's just, obviously I hope things can turn around. I hope, we all see the frustration. We all feel the frustration of, it's just a regular cycle at this point. Announcement, build the anticipation, pre-order, couldn't get one, goes on sale, still can't get one. Secondary market has it, and now I can't afford it. And what's the point? And then now something.
I know.
It's just rinse, lather, rinse, repeat. Same old cycle over and over and over again. And I don't know anybody. I don't know, other than Super 7 doing their pre-orders, I don't know who's doing it right or good right now. Honestly, everybody's just trying to figure it out.
Yeah, it's rough. I think we could probably talk about this all day. So let's just move away from the exclusive stuff now. But I think we're in agreement that the whole thing sucks, and that we hope that there's some sort of fix, or it gets easier somewhere down the line. I don't know.
Yeah. So I'm going to say it sucks, but with the understanding that there's a lot of stuff going on that was either unpredictable and is a new logistical challenge for all the people on the other end. I get it. I genuinely feel bad for everybody at NECA who is, the designers are doing the hard work, the licensors are doing the hard work, everybody's doing the hard work on the back end to make sure that this product that fans are asking for and want, even in these small quantities, NECA's doing everything they need to do to get that product made, to get it made at a reasonable price, as far as the quantities, and then it gets to that distribution part, and then that logistical sort of mess just takes it out of their hands, and then the fans come back to NECA and say, why are you doing this? Why are you making this so hard? Why? And they're like, we did everything we were supposed to do. we don't run Walmart. We don't run Target.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I know it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah. All right.
So hey, yeah. What was some of the cool stuff that came out of all the San Diego reveals? Do you want to start? I know you said you had kind of made a list of some cool things, so I'll let you take.
Yeah, I always come prepared, right? So what I'll say is,
you do.
What I'll say is that we were talking about just before camera started rolling here is because of this sort of like McFarlane Con and NECA Con and Mezco Con and whatever else, it's just sort of breakup of all the different San Diego booths into their own little pocket conventions. It has been real hard for me to stay on top of what is actually a new announcement, what is something that's just like, oh, here's a new, here's new photography of a thing that we hadn't seen before, here's new photos of packaging we hadn't seen before, or here's the actual pre-order announcement. I'm just like, I don't know what's actually from Comic-Con anymore, So my list here is basically just like things that I've seen pictures of recently that I'm pretty sure were somehow related to Comic-Con. And I'm just going to go in the order that I have them here. Diamond Select doing The Crow and Pirates of the Caribbean. That was weird. I don't know where that came from.
Yeah, super weird. So I did an interview with Zach already, which actually people will see after this.
Okay, Zach.
And he kind of talked. Yeah, Mezco. Yep. And he kind of talked about that a little bit. And he talked about how they were going to be doing a couple of those too. So I think there's more than just what they showed. They're going to do a couple variants of Crow, at least him. And then Jack is something that I think they went back to, like they had tried to do him before and it didn't come out. And so they've improved the head sculpt and they're redoing it. And it's part of their Disney stuff that they're doing because they got that Disney license. So this counts as part of that. So that's what they're doing with that.
Yeah, hey, and more power to them. They're just sort of this like it's like Marvel, or Hasbro and NECA and Super 7. We have these sort of brands, but then Diamond Select is always out there like, hey, they're actually still doing like really cool stuff. They're getting really cool licenses. People are like, oh, finally the Hulk I want, and then Diamond's like, here's some more cool Marvel stuff. So the Tron license, the Black Hole license, the Lord of the Rings stuff that's coming, they're building this own little pocket thing of products that, nobody else is really offering in a scale that nobody else is offering. So while I was surprised to see the Crow, I know there's an option for it, So I definitely I appreciate them going after those sort of other licenses that, are available and in demand.
Absolutely. And like you said, there's totally an audience there for that. Those will sell. Those will sell good. Yeah. I guarantee it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I thought those looked really great. Mezco 112 stuff. I think they just announced that Death Dealer. That thing looks pretty cool. I'm not real deep on 112. I've only got like a couple of figures, but those are like the admire them from afar things for me.
Same here. I've got a couple of the 112 things. I got Moon Knight because I'm a big Moon Knight fan. So it's like every now and then I will pick one that I really like, but they're beautiful. I do love. I especially love when I get to go to Toy Fair and see them all in the case and actually look at them.
Yeah, they're still. Oh, I know they're 6-inch figures, but they're still smaller than I expect them to be every time.
Yeah.
But Death Dealer looked pretty cool. Bishop looked pretty cool. But those are I won't be picking any of those up. Like I really want to. The Conan that is really like comic style, it just those figures look great, but I'm the like I'd rather have 2 or 3 figures than just one, $50 or $60 piece. But the surprise for me from them was the 5 POA.
Yeah, totally.
Those Ultraman figures, that was a surprise.
Yeah, totally. He's like in that pose where he's like doing like the beam. Yeah. I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah. I thought that was pretty cool. And I think they're doing Popeye too. I think I saw they did put up some pictures for some 5 Points Popeye figures. That's pretty cool too.
Yeah, and I'm not much of a 4-inch scale collector anymore, but I know that a lot of people still are, and I do get that there's that you may not collect something, but when you see somebody else have a really nice collection on display, you kind of go like, "Oh, I really like the way that looks."
Oh, I totally get that because I'm the same. I don't really collect that scale. I make exceptions sometimes for certain things, but I'm pretty much a 6-inch, 7-inch figure collector. But like you said, there's definitely a market for that, and there's not been a lot of stuff for the 4-inch scale. And it's nice to see a little bit more of that trickling out. I always get happy when I see my 4-inch collector friends just get happy over anything that's in that scale just because they want something new to buy.
Yeah, that well, and it's easy to get the sort of gratification out of acquiring something in the 4-inch scale because the price point is better, So when you're just
totally.
It's been a bad day. It's been a rough week. I need to treat myself to something. $12 for a 4-inch figure is better than 20 for a 6.
Right. Well, I'll say one of the things that I was pretty excited about were the new reveals for Mattel's Masters of the WWE Universe line. Did you see those?
So was that Jake the Snake? Was Jake the Snake in that batch?
So they revealed like 2 whole waves, and Jake the Snake was one of them in that batch. Yeah, man, I am so surprised that line is like just keeps going. Yeah. I thought that was going to be something where we got like 2 waves of these fun crossovers on our way to getting the new Origins toy line, but like they have just gone all in bananas with it, and they just keep getting better with every wave. That Jake the Snake is so cool because he's like the King Hiss of the whole thing. So he's got like the removable face thing, and
because that, you know, Mattel was already doing those. I don't remember what the name of the line was, but you know, there had already been that like Colossus style John Cena,
yes,
and the zombie, you know, whoever. They had already done those. What was the hybrids or mutants? Was it mutants?
They did mutants. They did mutants and they did zombies. They were two different lines.
Yeah, so they had already kind of tapped that, like, let's take that WWE license and do something, you know, fun with it. But to take that another step further and push, you know, throw He-Man into the mix, complete with, you know, Castle Grayskull ring and that kind of stuff. I don't always love these sort of crossovers of brands and this weird sort of like, we're just, all right, guys, we're losing focus here. Everything's just kind of merging into one thing. Like, you know, like Ninja Turtles, Ghostbusters. I can't take it anymore. You know, like, but at the same time, you know, that's the kind of line where I looked and said, like, okay, that's not for me, but you know, I'm going to pay attention to it and see where it goes and how popular it is. And yeah, the reaction seems to be from fans is like, I'm so happy that this is doing so well with other fans that it keeps going.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're doing a Mr. T. We're getting a Mr. T in this line, which is amazing in itself because we've had 5.5-inch scale Mr. T's in the past, you know, and so like the old Rocky toys were basically the same kind of scale and design. So it's kind of fun to get like a modern day 5.5-inch buffed out Mr. T action figure. But like I love, like, they're doing Ricky the Dragon Steamboat with the Skeletor Dragon Blaster dragon on his back, which is genius. They're doing, you know, Becky Lynch's Tila finally, which is something people have been screaming about since this started. They're just doing really fun stuff. Macho Man turned heel. So they got the NWO Macho Man coming out now, and he's like with the bad guys now because they already did a good guy one. It's amazing just to see the fun stuff they're doing with this world that they created, combining these two things together that you never would have imagined would be merged.
Nope, and you know, more power to them. It seems to be working. A lot of people seem really, really happy with that Manny Faces figure.
New Day, that's one of my favorite. That one and Undertaker Scareglow are my two favorites so far. But Undertaker Scareglow is just the most fun toy. Like, it's a good toy.
And that's what it's about, right? That's what it's about. And I applaud them. I applaud them being able to look at, you know, the was it DC Primal Age? Is that what it was called? That, you know, that line didn't do as well as this is doing. So I respect them for being able to look at that and say, we can still give this another shot with a different license. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So that's cool.
All right, what's next on your list?
Let's see. We'll go to we'll hold off on Hasbro. Hasbro's a lot of Hasbro. Let's go to McFarlane. Doomicorn. I don't know anything about a Doomicorn. Do you know anything about a Doomicorn?
No, I don't even know what that is actually. Did I?
So it's the Doom Trooper guy, but he also has like a unicorn sort of skin wrapped around him. I'm gonna assume it's some weird variant in the game that was
it's got it. Oh, that's amazing. Okay, so I'm looking at the picture right now to see what it is. That must be like a costume you can get in the game, right? Like exactly. Okay. Yeah.
So
that's amazing.
I've never played Doom. The figures look really cool. I might grab the figures at some point. Probably not Unicorn, but I'm guessing that's going to do okay. You know, straight up with that like Fortnite kind of sensibility of just having fun and doing ridiculous things with video game characters. Have at it. It's not for me, but I'm happy if it's for you.
Right, exactly. I like the goofy, weird stuff like that. I'm all about it. And I think, like you said, it's gonna sell well. I think a lot of people like the absurdity of some of this stuff, so it makes it fun. It makes them feel like toys, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Let's not take ourselves too seriously here.
Right.
Of course, a whole wave of the DC, the Batman metal figures there. I didn't read those comics, wasn't really sure. I've been following the storyline just to keep, you know, sort of up on what's going on, especially since there are figures related to it that are coming out. I want to know who those characters are and what's going on. So there's a lot of really, really, really cool designs there. I'm not super psyched about a whole wave of just Batman variants, essentially. And it's sort of a double hit, right? It's like they're Batman variants, but they're also like scary, evil, you know, bad guys influences. So it's like evil Batman Justice League variants. It's like, again, too much at one time. But they really do look like amazing figures, and McFarlane just seems to have this DC license on lockdown.
That's kind of what I'm saying. When the whole DC license thing happened, and like we found out that McFarlane and Spin Masters were getting it and Mattel was losing it, it was one of those things where I was just like, man, I just don't want the same stuff all over again, right? Like, I didn't want to see the same thing that Mattel had already done to death, just get all the same characters over again, just from somebody else. But like McFarlane has really taken this license and made it their own, I feel like, because they're doing their own thing with it. They're really just throwing out these crazy character designs and making some fun looking toys. I just picked up the Azrael that came out, and it's awesome. And like, it's not like Azrael's not even a character that I'm like, oh, I need to have an action figure of him, but he looked cool. And I was really impressed with it in hand. And I just think they're doing a good job with what they're making with these toys.
Yeah, no, and that's where I was at with, when the Hellbat suit, when the pictures first came out on that thing,
yes.
I'm buying that the first time I see it. The Superman, I was kind of like, nah, I'm not sure. But then I started to see people posting pictures of it, especially with it next to the Hellbat. And then once the Golden Armor Wonder Woman from 1984 came out, like the three of them just look so good together. I'm like, all right, now I got to get Superman. So yeah, if that Azrael Batman comes across my feed like one more time, I'm going to be like, I don't want Azrael. I'm not that big a Batman fan, but that figure just looks really good.
Yeah, exactly. I know. Sometimes a cool toy is just a cool toy. Yeah. So, you gotta get it,
Everybody stop posting pictures of that, please.
I'm gonna start texting you pictures of my Azrael like once a day. The other thing that McFarlane kind of released, which was something totally off the wall and different, was that Raw 10 line. Did you see those? So Raw 10 is like this new, it's different than like their action figures. They're a lot of people kind of made the jokes about McFarlane doing statues again. They're limited in articulation. I think most of them just are like the arms moving and everything, but it's like a line of, it's Cygor, from the old Spawn line. And then like all these other just crazy like mutant animals. There's a shark, there's a rattlesnake named Battle Snake. there's like a half android, half dinosaur character. I don't know, like stuff like that I already just think is cool, like because those look like toys to me. And then I started seeing pictures of how big they are. Like that Cygor is like 10 inches tall or something. He's massive, and the price point's real low on them. And so I look at stuff like that and I'm like, you know what, that is cool. That's the kind of thing that even a kid walking down the aisle at Walmart is going to see something like that, and they're going to be like, I want a really cool big giant cyborg gorilla toy to bash around. And I love that they're doing something like that too on that level.
Yeah, that's another thing where I don't know who the specific audience for it is. I'm going to trust that McFarlane has done their research and knows that there's even if they're just trying it out as something,
sure,
adult are going to pick some of those up. Younger kids are going to see those too. We'll see, where they stack them on the shelves, right? Stuff lower is usually for kids, stuff higher is usually for adults. But they do look cool. And I appreciate that McFarlane is just trying different stuff, seeing what's working, seeing what they can do at different price points. The sculpting, it doesn't look like they've sacrificed anything on sculpting or paint depths or anything like that. So that said too, I know plenty of people, I follow plenty of people on Instagram that use Schleich figures and Paypo figures and all of those like non-posable monsters or dinosaurs and whatever else. Those things are really expensive. So if McFarlane can start addressing that, that the toy companies aren't stupid. They see that there's this whole community of, toy figure photographers and posing and that sort of thing. And that's a whole little cottage industry on its own. So yeah, if they can put some stuff out that, okay, so that snake, that cyborg snake doesn't have articulation, but it's going to look really cool in photographs.
Exactly. I've already seen pictures of people posting that snake with like their Destro from the new Joe toy line, or with the Cobra characters, like stuff. I mean, that's just cool, and I like it when a toy company.
I haven't even thought of that. All right, so now I gotta get one.
Oh well, there you go. Look, yep. See, I like it when a toy company tries something crazy sometimes, especially when it's not sacrificing any of the other cool stuff that they're already doing. Like this is something extra and different, and they're trying to appeal to maybe a different market or just put something new out there. And I applaud that. I think that's awesome.
And you know what? Maybe it's a affordable way for them to test the market on something bigger. Put something out there at a low price point, and everybody goes nuts and is like, I wish we had a fully articulated 15-inch long version of this cyborg snake. And he's like, okay.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So what you got next after McFarlane?
Let's see what we got on here. I got I put Mafex on here. Just I don't know if they were officially like related to Comic-Con at all, but pictures of that Batman the Animated Series figure showing up. That thing looks ridiculous. And then just brown suit Wolverine as well. They just look like good figures.
You did see the brown suit Wolverine.
I don't think if Comic-Con was actually going on right now, I don't think they would have had actual samples or anything out. But just in the tidal wave of announcements of figures that were coming out this week, I was like, put it down.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, it's hard to keep track of what's new and what's actually not.
And it's crazy how many different companies have really tried to put out that Batman the Animated Series, that Bruce Timm style of, that body type, and trying to give it some articulation, but to keep the silhouette. I'll be curious. I'm not going to pick this Batman up, but I'm very curious to see what that thing looks like when collectors really get their hands on it and start trying to move it and put it through its paces.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're right. Like, there's been so many attempts, right, to do that specific Batman figure, especially in recent years.
And McFarlane.
yeah, McFarlane just did it. You're right. And obviously DC Collectibles did it right before them with their stuff. So yeah, it's one of those very iconic looks though for the character. I think it's proven the test of time as like one of the Batmans. And I think it's cool that we just keep getting different attempts to have the perfect figure of him.
Yeah, no, there's definitely life. I mean, the import companies still just keep cranking out Christian Bale movie Batmans. So I don't know. I don't think any of them are going away.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
After that, I've got Super 7 on the list here. The only thing that I really put down, I don't know what else they announced. They had I know the Glow Baxter Stockman and the 5 POA Turtles. Those were Comic-Con exclusives, right?
Yeah, so they basically only announced their Comic-Con stuff. They haven't really put out anything new yet, but I think they're planning to announce some new stuff within the next month or so. I know they're waiting on everybody to get wave 1 of Turtles and Thundercats in hand before they start going crazy with new announcements, and that's supposed to be happening within the next couple weeks. So we'll see. But yes, that glow-in-the-dark Baxter, so cool, and I jumped on that immediately. And also that thing stayed in stock all day. He was easy to order, and even after Super 7 finally sold out of it, Big Bad Toy Store had it for just a little bit more expensive, so you could still get it from there. So it was a very easy to obtain exclusive, and I'm a sucker for glow in the dark. I'm a sucker for metallic paint. This figure has both of those. Nice. So of course I'm all in.
Yeah. Well, and that's the first Baxter Stockman we've seen, right? I haven't been collecting that. I haven't been ordering any of those, but that's to my knowledge the first time it's been in hand.
Well, it's first time it's in hand. Not wave 1 has normal Baxter, but he hasn't shipped yet. So it's funny because this exclusive is probably going to be everybody's first figure in hand from this line, because wave 1 is shipping right behind it. So
yeah. So I'm sure that's not how they planned it, but it is what it is at this point.
It is what it is. Yeah, exactly. They also revealed I was really excited about the Haunted Mansion Hitchhiking Ghosts reaction figures. I'm a big fan of Disneyland specifically, and I love the attractions, and Haunted Mansion's always been my favorite. So those are something else I grabbed up right away, and I'm really hoping that we see more with that particular license. I would love a whole bunch of the ghosts as reaction figures, or even if they're able to do ultimates at some point, I would buy those too. I just love getting toys of those characters, because there's not a lot of toys outside of the Funko Pops for stuff like Haunted Mansion. So I was pretty excited for those.
Yeah, another sort of outside the box, license, another line that nobody else is really looking at.
Yeah.
That has support and a base.
Yeah, it's cool that Disney's letting them, honestly. I was kind of surprised, when they announced that they got a Disney license, my mind immediately went to Haunted Mansion because that seemed like the Super 7 thing to do with a Disney license. So I was pleasantly surprised that I was right. But it's surprising because Disney is usually pretty tight on the licenses with the theme park stuff specifically, and a lot of those things are usually only sold in theme parks. Like even a lot of Funko's first offerings of the Haunted Mansion stuff, they were like theme park exclusives. Like you had to go there to buy them. So it's really cool that they're letting Super 7 do their normal like order on our website model for these toys. It's just not something we've really had much of with them.
Yeah, no, and that's Super 7, right? A company that size really has to be thinking differently, thinking outside the box, and being able to maximize these sort of smaller fan bases and smaller markets while also trying to reach something like Ninja Turtles or He-Man or Thundercats.
Yeah, they've got so many licenses, and they are like of different fan bases and different sizes. And I love that they're just like they're doing like the stuff where they're putting the indie toy makers on the bigger platforms too, you know, with the Phantom Star Killer and stuff like that, and the Healy exclusive that went up just today when we were recording. I think it's awesome that they're doing that while they're also doing the Turtles and the Thundercats and the Disney and the Peanuts, and like they are just making cool toys for all these different fan bases, and I think that's so awesome.
Well, yeah, and that's always been their sort of operating, philosophy, right? Is they were fans first, and they love toys, and so this is the natural evolution of that sort of like, we are fans, we like making cool toys, we like buying cool toys. So as fans, these are the kinds of cool toys that we would want to see. And the Barry Windsor Smith style Conan, like who else would do something like that, just all the little obscure things. And I keep forgetting that they have licenses like Transformers and G.I. Joe, not necessarily on the specific types of action figure type things, but they're putting out product for that. When Hasbro announced the retro 4-inch line or whatever and rolled out with the 25th anniversary, repacks, I was kind of like, what I was really hoping they'd do something different, like not even don't reissue the 80s O-ring figures. Give me O-ring figures, but give me new designs. Give me a more animated look, or give me a more modern look in that same the O-ring sort of design. And then I'm like, yeah, well, wait, can Super 7 do reaction GI Joes? Like they did Transformers, right? Can we get some? And now I'm like, is that possible? Is that going to happen? Because I'll just jump right over there and buy 5 POA Joes for sure.
Dude, that would be amazing, right? I'll tell you what, when Hasbro announced that Transformers Red line or whatever it's called, which is like the 6-inch posable, non-transforming Transformers, I thought for sure Super 7 were going to be the ones making those. When they did the Voltron like that, and then they had the Transformers license, I was like, certainly that is what Super 7's going to do. So I was actually surprised that Hasbro did that on their own, but you're totally right, man. Like it would be really cool to see Super 7 give us some of those kind of more retro inspired offerings or something like that maybe the toy companies don't want to, because Super 7 is full on a collector company. Like they are making toys for us, the collector. So they might be the right place for something like that.
I mean, to take the step of, we're not going to reissue the original Ninja Turtles. We're going to fix the original Ninja Turtles as modern, action figures. And that's what we're going to do. And fans are like, yeah, that's exactly what I want you to do.
Yeah, I know, right? It's pretty cool. Hey, well, I guess anyway, we're talking about, oh, sorry. Did you have somewhere to go next?
You were about to say exactly what I was going to say. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. I was going to say, speaking of Ninja Turtles, we should probably talk about the NECA stuff. Which, I know it's going to be hard to buy them, but I still want to talk about their reveals, because they had a whole bunch of Turtles reveals this year. It's impressive to see that they are like really going all in with the cartoon designs on the Turtles. Not something that I ever thought that they would do when they first started these. Like we got that first pack that was like the Turtles and Shredder, and I was like, this is amazing. I had no idea that, 2 years later, they'd be revealing freaking Muckman, which is like my favorite Turtles toy, favorite character. And Joe Eyeball. You can't have Muckman without Joe Eyeball. And this is the first time we've ever had one that's like based on his one appearance in the original cartoon, but dang it, that's awesome. I think that's so cool.
Yeah, and it's a weird. So yeah, right out of the gate, we'll acknowledge. Yes, it's awesome that they're doing this stuff, but it sucks if fans can't actually get their hands on it. We agree with
100, 100%. 100%.
It doesn't matter if nobody can buy it. Yeah, and that original animated set that was an SDCC exclusive as well, 5 years ago, whatever it was, something like that. You know, I remember seeing that and being like, oof, you know, that's a set I would like to get. And so it was really great to see them go through recognizing that reaction to that product and saying, let's start putting out some more stuff. They could still put out some more volume of those pieces. That would be great. But yeah, to see them go down that line. So what, Rat King? They showed off Rat King.
Rat King. Vern. They showed off Vern.
Yeah.
He comes with Rat King, and he's got like the interchangeable parts to turn him into the were rat from the episode. Yeah.
And then Muckman, and then Mondo Gecko. It was those four, right? Those
four. Mondo Gecko. That's another great one. Oh my gosh, I'm excited.
And, was there a Krang too?
Well, we already knew about Krang in the android body. He was revealed back at Toy Fair. So, but he's coming. He's going to be one of the deluxe figures like Metalhead was. So yeah, I mean, at this point, like, they're amazing and they're so cool looking. I just really hope that everybody can get them at some point.
Yeah. It's
I think it definitely took the wind out of my sails a little bit because you know, like, obviously people are upset and I totally get it right now. So, you know, I've kind of been feeling the retaliation on that and all that. So like they started revealing all that new stuff and I'm like, man, those look so cool, but oh God, everybody's just so upset now, and I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about all of this. It's been kind of weird.
As a fan, as someone trying to get that stuff, you know, it feels like piling on. You know, like I want to support you. I want to give you my money. Stop making me give my money plus 50% to somebody that's not you. Like, I want to give it to you. You know.
Man, absolutely.
So hopefully they can get all the logistical figured out. And, you know, I fully understand how, you know, Randy and Brian and just all these guys, Super 7, NECA, everybody just has to feel like their hands are just tied right now. Like, they're trying, but there's only so much they can do. They don't have that kind of pull with Walmart. You know?
Yeah. I know, it's tough.
But anyway,
all right, what's next
stuff? That Predator 2, the electric that thing with the light up box and stuff, that thing looks intense.
Yeah,
probably gonna have to look for that one. I think I gotta. So like with Ninja Turtles, Super 7's got all their stuff, NECA's got all their stuff. I'm not the kind of Ninja Turtles fan that you are. Like that's sort of like a 6th, 7th sort of franchise for me behind all the other stuff I collect. So once the movie Turtles came out and I was able to get those core 4 movie Turtles, I was like, okay, I think I'm all set with Ninja Turtles. I don't need to track down all the other different versions. You know, like in the past, I would get Leonardo from a new release, and I didn't really feel like I needed to get all 4 Turtles. I got the 4 movie Turtles, and I was like, phew, I can just cross that one off my list because those are my ideal Turtles. So I'm glad I don't have to worry about the animated Turtles and, you know, the Ultimates from Super 7 and you know, it's just, there's so many.
There's so many, and it's crazy. And you know, like for me, Turtles is like my number 2. So it's one of my 2 main things that I focus on. The He-Man and Turtles are my biggest collections. So I love that we're getting everything. It's kind of amazing because when you look at being a Turtles collector just 5 years ago, our only option was basically Playmates Toys. That was it. Well, whatever Playmates was putting out was what we used to have. And all of a sudden, like, the license has loosened up enough to allow all of these different variations of the Turtles that are specifically made for collectors, where NECA's doing movie and original cartoon and original comic book, and then Super 7's doing original toy style. So we've got 4 different iterations of the Turtles all being made as collectible action figures at the same scale at the same time. It's bonkers.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, one of the points I wanted to make as far as this, you know, flood of announcements and releases and photography and pre-orders and all kinds of stuff, for like the first time in my collecting life, I sat there and was like, I need to start. I can't get everything that I actually want. You know, like I can't afford it. There's too much stuff. G.I. Joe GI Joe isn't even a year old yet, and we're on our third Cobra Commander, and none of them have shipped yet. It's like, how much money do I really, how much money can I afford to tie up in various pre-orders and product that's not going to ship for another 4, 5, 6 months, maybe even not until next year? It's like, I actually had to sort of stop myself, be a responsible adult for a minute, and say, I need to start saying, like, I can't go in on more Turtles. I can't go in on more, prioritize things, budget. Like, those words suck. Nobody likes them, but I definitely found myself this week, which is with all these announcements. I was like, McFarlane, metal figures look great. I'm not buying any of them. Back to the Future coming from NECA, amazing, incredible looking figures. I'm not getting them.
Yeah. No, I totally feel that. And it's weird because, like, in the position that I'm in where I'm doing the videos, sometimes I do have to get other things because I feel like it's important to make videos on them, or, all that kind of stuff. But as far as like my actual focus on collecting, this year, I've really kind of come to terms with, what, all the things I care about the most are the He-Man stuff and the Ninja Turtle stuff. And that needs to be the priority as far as my actual collecting goes. The G.I. Joe stuff is cool. I'm glad it's happening, but I kind of decided right away, I'm not doing it. I can't collect another 6-inch line. And I already broke that a little bit because I bought that Destro that I told you about because he looks so cool. And then they did Pimp Daddy Destro and Arctic Snake Eyes, which was my favorite Snake Eyes variant as a kid, that black and white costume.
Storm
so
Shadow.
I pre-ordered. Yeah. Storm Shadow. Sorry. Storm Shadow. Yeah. Woo. Well, yeah, that's a bad slip up right there. So I pre-ordered both of those. So I slipped up already with that line, but I can't go all in on that, and I'm not going to go all in on that. And it's that way with a lot of stuff, especially with there being so much Turtles and so much He-Man coming out in the next year or two already. That's like, I can't buy all this stuff. Where am I even going to put more than that? I barely have room to display this new stuff now as it is.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, no, and I pre-ordered all 3 of those Transformers RED figures because that speaks to me. The Transformers that I own, and as really amazing as all the Earthrise stuff is, and it really is great. That Optimus is every time I think we've hit the peak of like, okay, you can't make it better than that. He looks great, it transforms great, he's a good truck, he's a good robot. Then they come out with a non-transformable one that's like an action figure style. I'm like, well, I kind of want that one too. That one looks really great too. So I definitely said yes to that. Like Ghostbusters, I had to say no to. More Turtles, I had to say no to. Back to the Future, I got to say no to. You got to pick and choose. Like I just paid my my order for from Hobbylink Japan on the new Gundam Universe. Like that next wave is shipping now, and it's just like, okay, you can't be collecting everything, all at the same time. It's impossible. And I had to sort of pick those things and say, this is it. This is what I'm going to focus on. And I'm sure if there's anything that's relatable as a collector, as a fan, it's that I have to focus. Like,
right. Man, I feel like this discussion has totally taken a turn into like a different, we're like doing the therapy thing now where we're
every year. So, our channel Toy Galaxy started in 2015, and every year since then, I feel like I've said, this is the year that the most stuff has ever been released. There's never been more stuff. And then the next year goes and I'm like, no, this is the year that the most stuff has ever been released. And at this point, like, I don't know how Hasbro just Hasbro by itself, I don't know how they're not cannibalizing their own sales and their own customers with the amount of product that they're flooding out there. Like G.I. Joe gets announced. Oh, here's a Cobra Commander. Oh, here's another Cobra Commander. Oh, here's another Cobra Commander. And I'm just like, what? How can anybody possibly keep up on this? So now Hasbro, so much stuff is being announced, so much stuff is coming out so quickly. Now I'm having to choose not necessarily between, am I going to buy a Hasbro product or am I going to buy a Mattel product or a NECA product? I'm having to choose, am I going to buy this Hasbro product or this Hasbro product? I don't know if that was their plan, but that's what's happening. Yes, I'm going to get a third Cobra Commander instead of any Ghostbusters.
Yeah, it's so wild. It's like we got to the point where we all suddenly had the disposable income, right? We finally made it to that point. We've got this money that we can spend on our hobby, and now we can start buying all this stuff up. And now it's caught up to the point where it's like, now I'm spending way too much of my income because there's just so much stuff to buy. It's weird.
Yeah.
We created this monster is basically what I'm saying. We did this.
You're correct. No one to blame but ourselves. So yeah, Back to the Future.
Awesome. Oh, hey,
Yeah.
Yep.
They look great. Probably passing on those. The glow-in-the-dark alien xenomorph set that hit this week, I think, right? That was a SDC set for them.
It did. Yep.
That looks great. I'm a sucker for glow-in-the-dark as well. But my hope kind of with some of this stuff, to stick with the conversation we're just having, was that there is so much stuff out there that some of this stuff is going to linger on shelves and or end up on clearance and or end up at a show or something at a reasonable price. Or eBay or Amazon or whatever else. And if I don't grab the glow-in-the-dark alien xenomorph set this week, I'll be able to grab it in 2 or 3 months.
Yeah, hopefully so. And, and I will say that too, that like everything that was non-turtles with NECA seemed like it was a little easier to order, with maybe the exception of that Predator. I think the Predator sold out the quickest. But most of that stuff seemed to stay in stock all day on their website, or most of the day. And then like they're all going to be at Walmart too. I mean, I know Walmart, right? We have no idea how that's going to go, but they're supposed to be there too. So hopefully it won't be too bad getting those at some point.
Yeah. So let's talk about Hasbro.
All right, let's do it. Hasbro time.
Snake Supreme Cobra Commander looked really good.
Yeah. That's the third one, right? That's the one you were talking about.
I mean, hey, credit to Hasbro doing a wired cape on that thing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Cool. And just I don't know, just Snake Supreme Cobra Commander next to Pimp Daddy Destro is just going to be a thing. I don't know. That's going to be a look. That's going to be a different.
Yeah, totally.
Kind of Joe's. Obviously, we could talk about the wave, the Baroness, the Target exclusive Cobra Island wave. Again, I don't know if that's connected to Comic-Con or not, but it was up for sale this week. The Cobra Trooper looked great. That was the first time we saw that. Beachhead looked great. Baroness looked great. They all looked great. New look for Roadblock. Weird, just this early out of the gate with G.I. Joe, and we've already got 3 different Cobra Commanders, 2 different Destros. 2 different Snake Eyes, 2 different Roadblocks. I'm all for mold.
Yeah.
I'm all for mold reuse, but come on, put it out a little.
Yeah, it is kind of weird, right? Especially when there's such a big roster that they could be doing. But like you said, it's the mold reuse thing.
Yeah, and store exclusives and all that. So
right.
Obviously the bot armies scooped all that stuff up. None of that stuff went to actual collectors or fans. It is what it is. Those things will hit stores at some point, and then hopefully with these things later on, we're going to be complaining about peg warming, right? Because there's so much product there.
Man, it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder if that's a thing that will be happening with this, right?
We'll see. But I know that Hasbro also had their that Quintesson Pit of Judgment for the Transformers. That was one of their SDCC exclusives. Looks cool. Not something that I'm personally interested in. I know you're not much of a big Transformers guy either.
Yeah, I don't really collect it, and it's hard for me to follow. But I saw that, and it looks cool.
I don't know if the Maverick, the Top Gun Maverick, was technically an SDCC thing, or if that was just a summer tie-in with the movie that was supposed to be released. I think it looks terrible. I hate saying that.
I saw a lot of people say that it looked awful because his robot form doesn't look like it's got much detail, right?
So the jet is just one of these things with Siege where they tried to make it faux worn, and it just looks like somebody spilled chocolate dust all over it or something. It doesn't look realistic. It doesn't look weathered. It doesn't look worn. I would have preferred just a straight flat airplane. The alt mode as an F-14 Tomcat looks amazing. I love it. It's perfect. I'd love to see them repurpose it as a Sky Striker at some point. Make an Ace Transformer. That'd be great. The robot mode is real rough. I love the Maverick head with the his fighter pilot helmet. I love that he comes with interchangeable hands so that he can hold a volleyball. It is silly and kitschy and transparent as far as just a cash grab of a crossover. And for all those reasons, I was more than happy to buy it. It's way overpriced, but it is absolutely one of my most anticipated pieces of 2020.
Was he easier to get than the DeLorean? The DeLorean was like a nightmare, right? That sold out instantly.
I didn't even bother with that one. As soon as it was announced that that was the limited edition Walmart exclusive version that was coming in like numbered packages, didn't care. There's going to be a regular sort of retail version of that, just like with the Ectotron. That had a pretty wide release. You can still pick up that Ghostbusters crossover for pretty much regular retail price on a lot of different retailers. So I think Gigawatt or Gigawatt, I don't know which pronunciation we're going with. I think that's going to be the same way. You're going to be able to buy that thing for a while.
Oh, okay. You're probably right. You're probably right. That's good to know. I did remember seeing that. It was like didn't they, they had like a really limited edition with that, right? Like 1987 or whatever it was, 1984. Yeah. So that's crazy, but at least it's getting a wider release later.
85. I don't know why I said 84.
1985. Yeah, duh. 85. Duh. Back to the Future.
1955. Yeah, exactly. So again, that one I don't think as a robot doesn't look super great. It's really more about just getting that DeLorean. But I ultimately ended up buying the Ectotron anyway, so I'll end up getting Gigawatt at some point as well.
Yeah,
just a weird thing. Again, too many like brands and licenses and stuff. Just like
it's that crossover thing again.
I think it's the death of it's ultimately the death of the 80s, right? Like it's this last sort of gasp of this generation that just can't let go, and I'm part of it. I'm leading it, out there too. Just can't let go, either for nostalgia or because it was genuinely fun, and because YouTube didn't exist back then, and all of the social media didn't exist then. So these, we have the money to be able to buy these things, and the companies are making it for us. So we're going to indulge as long as it lasts, but it's going to die here very soon. And this is
it's got to at some point. I'm shocked it hasn't yet. To be perfectly honest, and it is weird. Like I just had this conversation the other day where when we were kids walking through the toy aisles, all that stuff was new and original, and now it's just that stuff still to this day. Like they all became brands and licenses, and it's the same stuff we're still buying. It's so weird.
It's exhausting. Yeah. One of the other SDCC exclusives was that Star Wars Black Series Heroes of Endor. 4-pack has the speeder bike, Poplu, Luke, Han, and Leia with their Endor outfits. $110. That's a pass for me.
Yeah, that's a lot. I like the Poplu with the speeder the best out of that set, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, I've already way limited my collecting of Star Wars Black at this point anyway, and I'm kind of like that almost qualifies because I'm kind of only focusing on the original trilogy stuff, but I don't think I need that much.
Yeah, and for what we've seen as far as their Comic-Con exclusives before, like they did Thrawn was an exclusive a couple years back. I want to say, that Thrawn got re-released. He didn't come with all his extra bits, all the little decorations and stuff, but they put him in a pack. So I'm confident that, Luke, Han, and Leia, they're all going to get single releases.
Single release. Yeah. They've done that with all of their San Diego Black Series releases for the past several years. They have like a souped up version at Comic-Con, and then there's the standard retail release of the exact same figure. So
exactly. Yeah. And I'm not even remotely about packaging, so I didn't sweat that one at all. I hope I can get my hands on Poplu at some point with or without speeder bike, but if not, it is what it is. That's sort of where I'm at as a collector. It's just like I'm no longer a completist for anything. So just can't afford it.
How about they also had Target did the exclusive Disneyland stuff, like the Galaxy's Edge stuff, which was really interesting to see get released. And they put out the big Millennium Falcon. They re-released it, the BMF.
Yeah.
Holy moly. Like, so the price is obviously way higher than it was when it originally came out, because that was years ago. But that thing also sold out lightning fast, right?
I was surprised it sold as quickly as it did. I really thought that $400 price point was going to be a bit too much. But then, I'm not I am not on the ground, as they say, with that collecting community. And it is still a very strong collecting community. And if I was a 4-inch scale focused collector, I would have jumped on that thing. Absolutely. Because I didn't go in on HasLab for the katana for Jabba's sail barge, but I know that's a piece that those fans have been wanting and looking forward to for decades. So to finally get that, what was the price on that? $600 or something. They
I
didn't
think
even
it's 500. Yeah.
500, yeah, it didn't even blink. It was just like, yep, I'll take it. Same thing with this. $400 for the new square dish. The new current version of the Falcon. Didn't even think about it. For me, I had the original release of that, giant Millennium Falcon. It's
Same.
amazing. The sound effects, the lights, just the detail on that thing, the escape pod. Love that thing. It's just massive. You just hold the thing up. But I sold it because.
Oh, you did?
Oh yeah, it's years ago. It just doesn't have a place. It didn't have a place in my collection.
See, it is big. It's big. It takes up a lot of space. I still have mine. It's one of the few, I don't even buy a lot of vehicles or ships, but I got that. And I loved it. I just fell in love with it. It's such a good toy. So I don't know if I could ever get rid of that, even though I don't have a proper place to display it. I really love it. And I was happy that it got put back out there, because I know that thing got real expensive on the aftermarket for a while there. So it was cool that they kind of reissued it, but made it a little new. But yeah, $400 is a big price tag on that. And it sold out immediately. So I don't know.
It's, when you talk about drawing the lines for where your collection ends and for where you say, I need to give myself some freedom to not worry about all of these things. Vehicles is just some place where I've drawn the line. I just don't need vehicles. They're too big. I don't want them. They take up too much space. Yeah. I would rather have multiple figures over one vehicle. I used to have that giant AT-AT. That thing's amazing.
I've got that too.
All that stuff, right? So I just, playsets come out and I'm like, I don't need it. I had the Classics Castle Grayskull, which is just, and I know you have that as well.
And I got a Snake Mountain on the way that I have no idea where I'm going to put.
Goodness. Yeah. It's one of those things I give myself as a collector to be able to say, I don't have to worry about those things. I look at the pictures. I can live vicariously through other collectors. I don't need it in my collection.
Yeah. I totally get that. Yeah, I know. That's why I'm thinking about that right now. You were just talking about that big AT-AT, because I've got the big Millennium Falcon, I've got the big AT-AT, and I've got the Sail Barge, which are three of the biggest but coolest Star Wars toys. And I have nowhere for them. They are literally just kind of all sitting in a pile on the floor, because I'm like, I don't know how to display these, but I love them. I'm glad I have them.
Yeah. Definitely. And, part of that too is, especially with vintage stuff, and I know this is getting off the track of, specifically talking about Comic-Con releases. So if you have to cut this part, that's fine.
Nope. It's good discussion.
As a collector, I do feel that responsibility, especially with vintage stuff and those rare kinds of pieces, to make sure that, they do get taken care of. And at some points, not only is it too big for my collection or out of my budget, but I don't necessarily want to be the caretaker of that thing anymore.
Yeah.
I don't currently own a USS Flag, because mine had the original box and everything. And each day that went by where I was like, I don't know if I can take care of this box, I felt that pressure to I need to get this into the collection of somebody who is a G.I. Joe exclusive collector, who's gonna, because the box was just in gorgeous condition. And what I found was that I loved that picture more than any of it. Just being able to see that giant picture of the flag was more important to me than owning that ship, which was never put together anyway, because I don't have my collection displayed like that. So what was the point of even having it? So I wanted to get that into the hands of somebody who could take care of it. So, all these Jabba's sail barges and, Snake Mountains and stuff that are coming out now, I think 20 years ahead, and I'm like, man, what is going to happen with those things?
Man, that's a good point. Wow.
I don't know. It's off tangent. Anyway, we can get back into the other. I think it's a Comic-Con exclusive. I don't think you're doing Power Rangers. I'm doing Power Rangers. I'm not doing the entire line. There are definitely some suits I don't care about, so I don't mind not getting those figures. But they did announce that Lord Drakon 3, I guess it is, from Shattered Grid. I don't know anything about the game. I haven't read the comics. I just know that the character design looks cool. And that's their exclusive. He's got the cape, the other helmet. He comes with some busted up green and Red Ranger helmets. It just looks cool, and I want to get that thing. So that's one where I'm still, if you've heard something, let me know. I don't know. It says available in September, but I don't know if that's when the pre-order or the order goes up for it. I don't know if you can pre-order that thing now. I'm just this is part of what's been happening this week, is it's announced, but is it available? I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough. I think he's a Pulse figure, right? I think he's going to be on Pulse.
I hope so. And I hope they've got quantities.
Yeah, me too. He's cool looking. I saw he's got like that big lightning effect and
Yeah.
everything. Like the helmets were like on the lightning effect. Yeah, he's definitely cool looking. I know nothing about that character. I bought the first Lord Draken just because I thought he was cool looking.
Yeah.
And the only ones of those that I have bought so far are the Mighty Morphin characters because I feel like they're the only ones I have a passing connection to. They were a little after, but my brother was a big Mighty Morphin fan. So I kind of have like that, like I was connected to it through him and I have the appreciation for it. And I thought they were cool toys. I think I'm still missing, like, I don't have the Yellow Ranger or the Blue. Is the Blue Ranger out now? I don't have him yet, Billy. Yep. But I did buy Draken because I thought he was cool looking and I saw that new exclusive and I was like, oh man, I probably don't need that. But that is a cool looking toy.
Well, see, that's good. You can draw that line and say, I just need those 6 core original Rangers, 7 if you count the White Ranger,
Yeah.
And just draw the line there and say, I'm done with Power Rangers.
Yeah. That's pretty much what I'm planning to do. but they're very cool. And I think Hasbro's doing a pretty cool job with that line. Like the toys look great.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, bringing it back around to Hasbro's other lines here. It's crazy how like many sub-genres have been created that you could just be like, oh, I'm not just a Hasbro focus. I'm not just a Marvel Legends focus, but I'm a MCU focus.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The recent the Deadpool figures that they showed off, Deadpool, was it Domino, and then Negasonic Teenage Warhead, and Cable. All those figures look great. But I'm even finding myself in that position of like, do I want to focus on MCU or just movie related? Because I know they're not MCU. Movie related figures versus comic related figures. Do I still feel that need to have both? Like, where am I at here as a Marvel collector?
Yeah, and it's the same with like all those Fox figures, like because they started putting out all the X-Men, the Fox X-Men, and that was one of those things I was just like, man, those look so good, and I'm kind of feeling that nostalgic feel for those old X-Men movies, and it'd be cool to get some proper figures that like really look like those characters, but like, do I need them? I don't really know. And I've already become heavily cherry picking as far as Marvel Legends goes. Like I for a while there, I was like getting whole waves just because I wanted to build a figures and everything. And now I'm just like, I'll get that one and maybe this one. And like I did go ahead, like I just got the whole retro Spider-Man wave, because they sucked me in with those retro card backs, and like that Spider-Man figure is so cool looking, and like that whole wave just looked like a good wave. So I bought that whole wave. But aside from those, I've only been buying a figure here and there recently with Marvel Legends because there's so many of them. There's just so many, but I'm so happy they all exist. I love that they're doing them.
Yeah, it is a tough thing to keep up with. And that's what I'm saying. Like, you draw those lines as a collector and just forgive yourself for not having to be involved in everything all at the same time. It's just absolutely impossible for sure.
Yep.
I think the other exclusive, actually, I don't know. I think it's a Target exclusive, the Ghostbusters, Louis Tully's Terrible Night. I'm not sure if that's a show exclusive or if that's just like a Target exclusive or something.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I actually just saw that pop up in my feed like yesterday. So I didn't really know what was the story with it, but it's pretty fun to get that Lewis and everything.
Well, and it's nice to be able to get, if you wanted a Terror Dog, like I kind of wanted a Terror Dog, but I wasn't really interested in the rest of the figures. So, am I going to buy a full wave of figures just to get a Terror Dog? Probably not. I didn't check. And most people want 2, right? You need your gatekeeper.
Both.
You need to have both, Keymaster and Gatekeeper. So this is the way to have all of the characters plus 2 Terror Dogs if you've been buying the whole line. I think it was a good move on Hasbro's part. And if you just want a Terror Dog, then fine, you've got an extra Louis Tully figure.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, hopefully he'll be easy to get. I'm not sure exactly where it's going to be at, like you said. I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, so that's pretty much everything I had on my list. I mean, there's probably still some individual sort of Hasbro things we could talk about. Some more classic X-Men characters. Storm and Thunderbird 2-pack, the Psylocke, Nimrod, Phantom X 3-packs. None of those are necessarily show exclusives. They were obviously announcements for Comic-Con stuff. We had some of those figures, actually maybe all those figures, we'd seen at Toy Fair, but hadn't seen packaging shots, that type of stuff. So just another expensive year for Marvel Legends fans coming up.
So expensive. So are you getting the Sentinel?
No, that was one where I definitely drew that line and said, I don't need that. Not at that price.
Yeah, I'm also not getting the Sentinel. But it was amazing to watch how fast it met its goal and how it's far surpassed it. And it seems like they throw in a lot of cool extras with it. Like you get 2 extra figures and the extra head and the tentacles and all that stuff. So that's pretty cool. I'm really happy that that's going to exist for everybody that wants it, but that's definitely something that I was like, I don't need that. I don't need to spend the money on that. I actually still have my Toy Biz Build-A-Figure Sentinel, and I feel like I'm fine with just that one. But it's amazing to see how well this new one has done on HasLab.
Well, and that was part of my calculation as far as whether or not I was going in on it. Was I do prefer the design and the paint treatment of that original Toy Biz aesthetic. That's what I want a Sentinel in my collection to look like. So when they revealed the look of it, I was like, okay, that's not my ideal, so I don't feel bad about not going in on it. It's big, so I'm not really going for like really giant things as far as my collection is concerned. So that was an easy out for me. That said, I was very it's funny that Hasbro put them in that selves of, they came right out of the gate like, we got stretch goals every 1,000,
yeah,
we're gonna review new stuff. And that ended up backfiring on them.
I know. Yeah, I saw that.
They ended up hitting tears, and then they were just like, we don't have anything else to announce. And fans were like, what?
Yeah, I saw that. Well, they had to change the wording, right? Because I think it said like every $1,000 we've got something new. Yeah. And then they ran through all their new stuff like in the first couple days. So they changed it to, like up to $9,000 or whatever it was. We've got new stretch goals.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, it was humorous to me as someone who's not involved in being held responsible for that, to watch them suddenly have that turnaround on them. There was a commercial several years ago for it was for IBM or somebody or whoever, and it was like, you're taking your small business public, right? And the whole office is watching as their business goes live, and then all of a sudden they start getting all these orders and the value of the business going up, and in like a span of 2 minutes they go from, yes, it's happening, we're doing it, to, oh my God, what are we going to do? How are we going to do this? And that's what HasLab looked to me like. They were all excited. Oh, we funded $6,000. $7,000. Oh no, 10,000. What are we going to do?
It's interesting. It's almost like they underestimated the demand for that figure, which is interesting to see.
I think they were probably conservative, which was probably the right move to say,
probably
like, shoot for that minimum. And basing it on the Java sail barge, they had to extend it, didn't they? Or was it Unicron? Unicron, they extended twice, I think. And then also had, I'm sure like Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth, I'm sure they bought multiples.
Put in big orders, yeah,
exactly. But not this. It was just like...
This was the fastest, because even the sail barge, I think, I don't remember if it took like the entire time to hit the goal, but I definitely know it took a while to hit the goal. Like this was just like overnight, it was basically funded. I couldn't believe it.
Well, and that was part of their message, right? Was if this is at the first goal within the 24 hours, that's going to be sort of one of our measures of how well this is doing. And I honestly don't think they expected that.
Yeah, I still feel bad for poor Cookie Monster.
Hey, you know what? In terms of market research, they know where their buyers are now, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Not animatronic Muppets.
Well, was there anything else? I feel like we've covered a lot.
I'm afraid, because I guess we're shooting this Saturday afternoon. I'm guessing there'll probably be a couple of announcements that we'll miss probably later today, maybe into tomorrow. Who knows?
It's very possible, yeah.
Right, because Comic-Con would have been this past Thursday through tomorrow, Sunday, right?
Yes. Yep. Technically, it's still Comic-Con right now as we're recording. So
we may miss a few announcements, but you know what? Put an asterisk on this one. It's a weird year. It's a weird everything. Everybody's just trying to make the best of it, trying to have fun with it. And hopefully all these logistical issues get sorted out. People will be able to acquire the things they want to acquire. And, we'll hopefully be in a position next year to reminisce about the weird year that 2020 was.
Man, I'm right there with you. I hope that's where we're at. Somewhere in the future, we're going to look back and go, remember 2020? That was wild.
You're so fun.
Yeah. Well, Dan, hey, thank you so much for joining me, man. This has been a really fun conversation. I talked earlier about how much I miss going to the shows, and this right here is one of those things that I miss, is just getting a chance to really geek out with with somebody who understands this and is into the same sort of thing. So this has been a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Same thing for me. I was just looking forward to, even if we didn't talk about Comic-Con, I was just looking forward to chatting about toys and stuff. Hey, congratulations on the pre-orders on your book. That is amazing. Talk about things that hopefully ship to everybody that ordered them.
Oh my God. Well, hey, don't come at me if not. Okay. It's Dark Horse, but no, thank you so much, man. I'm really excited about the book, and that'll be out in February. So I'm like, but you were just talking about that commercial with the people excited, and then like that's how I feel right now. Like I'm real excited for that book to ship, but I'm so nervous about that book to ship.
Yeah. Here's my review of Pixel Dan's book.
Yeah, exactly. The tables are gonna turn on me here soon.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, Dan, thank you so much for joining me for this. It's been a lot of fun. Guys, make sure if you don't already subscribe to Toy Galaxy on YouTube, head on over there and check it out. Dan does some amazing content. I'm always in awe of your content, man. So keep pumping out the awesome stuff.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining me for Comic-Con at Home with Pixel Dan. Until next time, my friends. Comic-Con at Home with Pixel Dan is brought to you by Megalopolis, City of Collectibles. Be sure to check them out for all of the latest pre-orders of everything that was just announced during At Home Comic-Con. Thanks for watching.